Hello everyone, welcome back to Apocalypse Movies and the Padawan Podcast. My name is Jake Blaine, aka Qui-Gon Jake, and I am joined today by Grandma Bartley himself, Jacob Bartley, and we are here to do the Padawan Podcast, our all Star Wars podcast, where we break down everything from the galaxy far, far away. How you doing, man? I mean, today it's Justice League Day.
Exactly.
Yes.
Just saying that.
We're just saying it's Justice League Day. He's got his Wonder Woman shirt on.
Only
but
today.
There seems like a day that we can't go without talking about Star Wars.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's so much going on in the world of Star Wars, and here we are here to kind of break it down. We're going to try and keep this as short as possible, but we got a bunch of cool stuff to talk about. We're going to start off with some brand new Last Jedi posters that have been released. These are the IMAX and Dolby Digital exclusive posters. You'll see these up on the screen right now. These posters are super cool, and they've been kind of doing this with the new Star Wars movies thus far. IMAX and Dolby especially. I specifically remember the Rogue One posters. They're now doing this with The Last Jedi, and these are some very, very vibrant, beautiful looking posters.
Yeah, I like the Dolby one a lot. Like, I love that. I want it to hang it up in my living room.
Yeah.
The other one, the IMAX one, is cool. It reminds me of a lot of the posters that came out already.
We are going to our IMAX screening next month, and that's the poster we'll be given.
You found that out?
That is the poster we'll be given.
I'm totally down for that. Trust me, I like that poster, but I absolutely love the Dolby Cinema one. Where can we get that poster?
Seriously. Seriously.
Come on now.
I'm sure it'll be available
you know what it
on
reminds
Amazon
me
or something.
of? The Logan poster that
the IMAX one.
During the IMAX.
Yes.
I love that poster. I didn't even go. I begged Gio to give it to me, and he gave it to me.
I have
because I love that poster. I'm going to get it framed. I have it like nicely hidden. But this one reminds me of it, and I absolutely love that poster. They're both cool. They're both good. But this one is really excellent.
They're
Dolby one.
Both extremely beautiful. What kind of stand out to me, and it's kind of been a trend, but the red.
Yeah,
the red is being used, and specifically in the IMAX one, Rey is clouded in it.
It's not like a pure red. It's like a blood red.
Yeah,
like a
it's
orange
different.
Blood red. And
it's different.
Like, I don't know if it's hinting towards things, foreshadowing or not, but it's a cool little theme. You know, like a lot of Star Wars movies have the black and the yellow, and you know, just other colors, but I like that it's emphasizing. It has its own little marketing feel to it. You know.
Yeah. No,
so
I love the way the Rey looks in that Dolby exclusive one.
Yeah,
she looks so
look
badass.
On her face. She has. You can just tell from the trailers and the posters. Her attitude and the way she carries herself has changed so much from the.
She's a completely different character.
Yeah,
and I'm.
She's the same person, but she's changed a lot.
So excited to see what happens.
Me
with
too.
her. Yeah. So moving on to our next topic, a director that is Rian Johnson. He has now been tapped to create an entire new Star Wars trilogy that is said to be separate from the Skywalker saga. Yes, this is the first time we are getting anything new aside from the spin-off movies. Those can kind of be considered prequels in a way. This is completely different, something completely separate from what we know. We don't know what it is, when it is, but we know that Rian Johnson will be directing the first movie as well as kind of mapping out the entire trilogy going forward. Speculations have been running wild over the last week or so. Could it be Knights of the Old Republic? Could it be a Thrawn prequel in some way or in somewhere early on? Possibilities are endless. Jacob, I have not heard your thoughts on this except for generally. What do you think about this, and what do you think the possibility of Rian Johnson kind of going far back into the past of the Star Wars universe?
Just in general, I love this idea. Rian Johnson is a great director. If you've seen Looper, I like Brick, but I still just appreciate it for a great filmmaker's eye, like as a great filmmaker. So those are examples of what he can do, and obviously they're happy with The Last Jedi if they're giving him an entire trilogy.
Announcing this a month before the release.
So that just gives me a lot of excitement overall. What it could be about, I have no idea, because they said it's going to be outside of the Skywalker saga, so that means I think it's going to be not connected really at all.
Brand new characters.
I think it can be anything. It can be something. I mean, I wouldn't really want something in the future, because then that might, unless it's so far in the future, but that might spoil stuff that's going on right now, so they might get ahead of themselves, you know. But I wouldn't mind a Knights of the Old Republic.
That would be
that would be
amazing.
That's a perfect fit.
Yeah.
Because those movies are going to be darker than the saga films. I just have that feeling, you know. And with Rian Johnson directing it, and The Last Jedi has that tone from the trailers that would feel like a Knights of the Old Republic movie. So I think there's a good shot at that. What I think, it's either going to be that or just something way out of left field, something just totally random, just a random set of characters like on this portion of the galaxy. What I would really want to kind of tie into The Last Jedi in a way, like a subtle, tiny tie-in would be, I would maybe want him to tell like a building of the First Order trilogy, which the first movie is
from kind of
an
aftermath
exploration film of Admiral Ray Sloan going into wild space with the Hux family.
Always got to go back to Sloan.
That's the first movie, and then it's kind of the building of the First Order with Snoke and that. But it wouldn't. I don't know. I guess that would tie in too much to this trilogy.
Yeah. It would be very connected. Yeah.
But I don't know. That's just my wish because I think he would do a great job with that. But yeah, my bet's on Knights of the Old Republic.
I think so. I think it's going to be at least in that time era, like way back in the past.
Unless the TV shows that, but
that's very true. We'll talk about that. And actually, I forgot to mention that, but we'll talk about that in just a second. I think that it could be something very, very far in the past. Rian Johnson's a very dark director. We've seen that with his previous 2 movies. We see that with the trailers of The Last Jedi. I would love to see a Sith origin film.
Wow.
Going way back into the depth of the dark side. You know, Darth Bane. You got Darth Revan in there.
I feel like you
Darth
can do
Plagueis.
That in the Knights of the Republic.
Exactly. You could.
Yeah.
You could. You definitely could. But I think this is the perfect opportunity to bring Darth Revan on screen, to bring Darth Bane, maybe even a little flash of Plagueis in there at some point.
Sith armies and Jedi armies.
Dude. Well, so that's what I was thinking. The Last Jedi doesn't have a ton of lightsabers and a ton of Jedi, and there's no Sith, you know, because Kylo Ren's not a Sith, he's a Knight of the Old Republic.
Yeah.
Or a Knight of Ren, I should say. Knight of Ren.
Yeah.
I feel like Rian Johnson's like, I want to tackle Force. I want to tackle the Force and all of these characters. I think it's the perfect opportunity to do
I would lose my mind because while my least favorite Star Wars movie is Attack of the Clones, one of my favorite moments is that battle on Geonosis when you have like army of Jedi, the most Jedi we've ever seen on screen in live action, like fighting a bunch of like that's amazing.
Imagine that versus Sith army.
But like thousands of them. Like we've seen gladiator films where we see thousands of people running at each other. Imagine that with lightsabers and Force users, like a straight up war battle.
He's the perfect director to do it.
Yeah, I'm losing my mind. That would be crazy.
But like you said, that could possibly be the TV series.
That's what I'm saying because that fits so well with a serialized storytelling with the TV series. Maybe who knows? Maybe they could have both set in the time era.
Yeah, like I mean, I don't know if you guys haven't heard about this, but along with Rian Johnson directing a new trilogy, they also announced a live action Star Wars show. No details on that as well, but Knights of the Old Republic also does fit in that because you can kind of just extend it.
Definitely,
with many different characters. So
and it could go on forever, and like you can change main lead characters, because it can just go on for 10 seasons and like go over 100-year period. A
Star Wars live action TV show.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's Knights of the Old Republic, but Rian Johnson could literally do anything, and I'll be on board.
And his mind is creative. If you've seen Brick and Looper, his mind is a creative mind.
I think it's going to be something on its own, but it's going to connect to some little thing in Star Wars.
Like there may be just a mention of a name or something that kind of connects it to something.
Either it's someone from Legends or like somebody like Darth Plagueis. Like, I mean,
I could see him going back to the Legends because it's no longer canon.
So he can pick and choose from any of that.
Yeah.
And I got to keep remembering that it's separate from the Skywalker saga because I keep wanting to connect. Like if it's a Darth Plagueis with Palpatine, is that connected to the Skywalker saga? Like,
I don't know.
Who knows?
Yeah, we'll have to find out. I mean, hopefully we'll know pretty soon. Doesn't look like that's going to happen for at least a few years, but it should be pretty exciting. We can wait.
We got The Last Jedi.
And so much
hopefully
more.
Hopefully an Obi-Wan film coming.
So much more. Obi-Wan film is official. It is coming.
Yeah.
It is true.
Yeah.
All right, well, moving on. Mark Hamill was speaking with a Disney insider, and he kind of finally answered the long-burning question of whether or not Luke is going to go to the dark side. He said the following with Disney Insider. Actually, I don't think Luke's fundamental personality has changed, except that he is older and his life experiences have shaped his outlook the same way that they do for all of us. He continued by saying, in the Star Wars The Force Awakens, Luke has lost confidence in his ability to make good choices. It haunts him to the core, but he hasn't gone to the dark side. This isn't an evil version of him, but it's still an incarnation of the character I never expected. It has pulled me out of my comfort zone. It's a real challenge. So, I love these comments from Mark Hamill, not only just because it kind of reassures us that, no, this isn't Sith Luke, this isn't Dark Side Luke, but it's a different version of him. It's not just the same character we saw in The Return of the Jedi. He's gone through hell over the last 30 years, more like the last 5 or 10 years he's gone through hell. And Hamill's confirming that this is a different guy. This is not someone that you're going to be expecting. Not only someone that he was expecting, and it kind of challenged him to bring something different to the screen, which really, really gets me excited for seeing his performance and what kind of Luke we're going to get for The Last Jedi.
Yeah, I like these comments overall because it kind of subtly confirms that he's not going to go dark side or Sith, which I wouldn't want anyway. I can't see
feels
that
too
on
repetitive.
screen in my mind, like, going well. You know, I would be like, oh, come on, like, really? Like, and I just don't think it could be executed well. I mean, anything can happen, but I just don't want that. So it kind of makes sense. And this whole thing makes sense because we don't know what he's gone through over the past 30 years, everything involved. But the worst thing we know that's happened to him is Kylo Ren turning to the dark side. We know that's happened, and that was his apprentice.
And losing his academy.
He had the same failure that Obi-Wan had, you know? And that's like history repeating all over again with Anakin, and it happened again. And Luke's kind of right in the middle of all of that. Like, he's the product of Anakin and Obi-Wan's fallout, and then he created Kylo Ren.
He's creating the First Order, he's creating Kylo Ren, everything going on, yeah.
Luke's right in the middle of everything in the past and the future. So I can see how he can put all the blame on himself, and that's what I think it is. I think he's blaming himself for everything that has went wrong. I think feel like he's failed himself. He's failed Obi-Wan. He failed Leia. He failed Han. And he's just like, I need to get away. Like,
he failed the galaxy.
He thinks he's bad for the galaxy. So, and you see it in the trailer. He has all this hate and anger and fear, and that's what leads to the dark side. But here's what I think. I think he's feeling all of those emotions, and they're kind of overpowering him. And
that's why he's
taking himself out of society in Star Wars. I don't know. You know what I mean? But it makes sense because, and I think he's just honing that and controlling it. And that's why we're going to see him more of the dark Jedi, or the gray Jedi, more than, you know, a light Jedi or a dark Jedi.
Yeah, just as he says in the first trailer, the Jedi must end. That doesn't necessarily mean the Jedi as a whole. That means the Jedi way.
Yeah, exactly.
You're saying, like you said, the gray Jedi. I don't know if they'll.
I don't think they're going to call it that, but that's basically what it is. You know, it's somewhere in the middle.
Exactly, and if you don't know what the gray Jedi is, they're basically saying is there is no light side, there is no dark side, there is only the Force. He operates within the Force. They basically use whichever side is necessary for what is going on at the time.
Yeah.
And we kind of see that in the trailer. There's hints of Dark Luke, which is why people are going kind of crazy over this theory.
Yeah.
But I definitely don't think it's gonna happen. Mark Hamill's so good with words, and he's so good with the community. He could just be BSing us all and saying it just to kind of lead us on. But I really don't think that's gonna happen. I don't think any of us really think it's gonna happen because, like you said, it would just feel really, really weird. Speaking of Luke Skywalker and, you know, powers and the Force, before we get to The Last Jedi and even before The Force Awakens, there is a brand new book coming out called The Legends of Luke Skywalker. It is taking place between Return of the Jedi and the new saga, and kind of telling tales of Luke from a perspective around the galaxy. The synopsis of the book is basically it's a series of tall tales. But one interesting tall tale kind of caught us all, and this came from We've Got This Covered. And this is from a shipmate on a Star Destroyer, and the excerpt goes as following. The bridge went dark, the overhead lights, the view screens, the blinking lights on the banks of consoles, even the emergency lighting strips on the floor. All around us went to darkness of space. I saw the bridge windows were rapidly filling with expanding columns of energy. A jolt, as if the entire Star Destroyer had been picked up by a giant hand and slammed against the ground. The ship slowed, drifted, stopped, and the stark lifeless surface of Jakku swung into view, filling the windows, and we fell. Again, this is a book that is kind of counting a tall tales of Luke Skywalker, but this says that Luke Skywalker force-pulled a Star Destroyer down to the ground. This could be, you know, not real. This could be something that shipmate was just thinking at the time. But let's just play devil's advocate here for a second. If Luke Skywalker did in fact pull down a Star Destroyer, he is without a doubt, in nobody's mind, the most powerful being to ever live in Star Wars.
Yes, I would say so.
And that is, it's mind-boggling.
Well, it's funny because when Rogue One was coming out, I kept joking because we didn't know what Vader's role was going to be in the movie. We didn't know we were going to get that hallway scene or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I was joking with people like, Vader's going to do something crazy in this movie. And I joked, he's going to be on the battlefield, there's going to be an X-Wing flying at him, and he's going to straight up just bring it down to the ground. I joked about that. But like, this is like 10 times more powerful than that. You know what I'm saying? So this would be insane. Here's what I think. I think, like I talked about from the Aftermath novels, there were parts in that book that hinted towards stories like this, like tall tales of Luke Skywalker that they didn't know what were true or not. So it can be similar to that. I think they're just exaggerated stories. Like there could have been a situation where the ship was going down already and Luke just happened to be there and he like pushed it further. Like it was already going down and Luke just made it fall harder or something like that. So they think that he did it by himself, but he just kind of was there and was a part of it, and then the story just gets exaggerated because, people, they don't know what's going on completely. So I think it'll be a fun book to read. I don't want the canon to get confused. I don't want there to be something to be like that affects canon so much. If it's something like this, does it really affect canon that much? It's just debating how powerful Luke is.
It's just that it's out there. The legend of Luke is kind of just out there.
But if it's like a story detail that really like
that
changes
everything.
I don't want that, because I don't want there to be, wait, did that really happen or not? So this is cool. I think it's going to be fun, but I just hope they don't go too far with the legends part.
If this is true, there's no way that they just couldn't show us that in any way.
Yeah,
like you would have to show us that. Luke pulling down a Star Destroyer?
He's going to do something crazy. I don't think he'll do... Like, if he just fights with his lightsaber in The Last Jedi, I'm happy. But I think maybe in Episode 9, he'll do something crazy like that.
I think his role will definitely be bigger in Episode 9, but I also think that he'll be fighting off the Knights of Ren in The Last Jedi.
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
All right, well, that's going to wrap up our movie news. We're going to jump into some canon stuff now. We're going to start with Star Wars Rebels. Season 4 is currently was going. The mid-season finale aired on Monday. We're going to kind of talk about the first half of the season. There are going to be a little bit of spoilers, so you have been warned. Jacob, we haven't talked much about Rebels this season so far, kind of here and there. So I want to get your thoughts real quick, just kind of overall and maybe some key moments that really stood out to you for Star Wars Rebels season 4.
All right, so overall in general, I'm going to be honest, I've liked it, but I'm not loving it, honestly. Look, this is the last season, and honestly, more than half of these episodes have felt like filler to me. This is what they do. They have them on this mission, and you see the character interactions. You see a few important moments hinting towards future things, and then there's one key moment in each episode that like hints towards something bigger. And it's been happening every time, and honestly, I haven't been completely satisfied with these episodes. And I love Star Wars, it's everything to me, but I just got to be honest about it. But I have been enjoying them, though. I still love seeing Kanan and Ezra interact, and all the characters, Sabine and Hera, interact. Like, I still love watching every episode, or every 2 episodes every week, other than this past week. This is the fastest we've ever gotten to a mid-season finale. So, it's still, like, if this was, like, the second to last season, sure, maybe these episodes work, but it's like, what's the end goal here? And why does every episode feel like nothing's happening to me? Like I said, you have moments with Mon Mothma and Hera that are hinting towards the bigger picture. You have moments with Kanan, moments with Ezra that are hinting towards the big picture. But it's like, are you going to have a whole bunch of filler episodes and then the last 2 episodes are going to be this big shebang and then that's it? I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's interesting because, it almost feels like every season does this. They kind of lead you on the first so many episodes.
I like the first 4 episodes.
And then they end with a bang. The first 4 were definitely good because they wrapped up the Mandalorian story.
And those were good episodes.
And then they went
the
on to
Saw Gerrera episodes were good.
Yes. Like you said, they're not really focusing on the bigger picture here. And, we were teased to like, oh, it's going to lead into Rogue One and the Rebellion, like all this stuff is going to happen. It's been 9 episodes and nothing has really happened yet. There's been a few things. I've been okay with it. I think that on average, I probably like one of the 2 episodes that air each night because one of them almost seems like an introduction to the other, and the other one just kind of seems like it's all
what you mean.
kind of expanding everything. The mid-season finale episode this last week was by far the best. I think that had the biggest implications going forward.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad.
The second half of the season is going to do. But what I'm interested in most after this mid-season, and it's not Thrawn, which we've barely seen any of. It's not Hera or Kanan, or it is, but not as much. But the Lothwolf stuff. What the hell is going on with the Lothwolf and Kanan?
That's part of the stuff that I'm not really interested in, honestly. Like I'm like, all right, maybe it ends up being something amazing. I'm like, whoa, I didn't see that coming. That's awesome. Like what this means, but I literally have no idea what's going on with that. I don't want to get into spoilers.
They're teasing something big.
I was going to say something about spoilers, and then, anyways, but I don't like what's going on with the wolves. I just don't.
Do you think that it could be something to do with like possibly the dark side?
Not anymore, because what the wolves, because the wolves kind of speak sometimes.
They say
they're,
Dune.
They're like the Hulk.
Yeah.
They say like one word. But they're saying something, and do you know what that means?
It's Caleb Dune.
Yeah, that's his
Last
real name.
Yeah.
And I don't think you ever read the Kanan and Hera La New Dawn.
No.
But you you go through certain parts of Kanan's life where he is Caleb Dune. And I'm curious, what does this mean? Because there's no history in that novel that has, unless I'm missing something or unless it's been a long time since, that I'm remembering that tie into anything that have to do with wolves or him connecting with animals or anything like that. So I don't know what's going on. Maybe this is the only connection I can think of. I forget her name, but one of the Jedis that are on the Jedi Council in the prequel trilogy is Kanan's master. Maybe she's trying to connect with him through the Force. That's the only thing I can possibly think of. You know the character. You probably can't think of her off your name, but she's like in the background in the Jedi Council, and they mention her in the novel. A lot of you Star Wars fans probably know exactly who I'm talking about. Maybe she's trying to reach to him through the Force. That would be pretty cool. Hey, if I'm right, then that's awesome. But
what about
I just thought of that.
Maybe Ahsoka?
I hope it's not Ahsoka.
So do I.
I think
Same.
Ahsoka's alive somewhere. She's trying to heal. She's trying to gather. She just found out Vader's still alive. She's going to meet Obi-Wan so they can meet up for the Obi-Wan movie anyways. But, yeah, like I said, it's just... Don't get me wrong. I like these episodes, and I enjoy every minute of them because it's Star Wars, and I love these characters. But it's like, what's going on? How is this season going to end? It's the last season.
Yeah, and sadly, I think this season was going to be like 16 or 18 episodes, and we're already halfway through, and it's been like a month, which kind of sucks.
I can only think, are they trying to finish the season before The Last Jedi? Because it has strong implications for The Last Jedi.
That's my only How long is the mid-season finale? Or the mid-season break? Like, is it going to the new year?
It says when it comes back. I was on Disney XD and it said. So we'll have to figure that out. We'll have to look into it and figure it out.
So we'll see. All right, well, moving on. We're going to get into our comic section. Before we get into some comic reviews, Jacob's going to go over the entire Phasma run that just dropped. But we're going to talk about the Thrawn comic adaptation that is coming based on Timothy Zahn's novel. Now, this is something that we both got very excited for because it's kind of the origins of Thrawn, telling him on his home world. He's got long hair, don't really know who he is. We don't know any details as to when it takes place, where it exactly takes place. All we know is that a Thrawn Thrawn comic book is coming. They seem to be pushing Thrawn a lot more than I was kind of expecting. We have him in Rebels. Obviously, they have a novel out, and now they're doing a comic book. Are you more excited for this comic book maybe than you were maybe for the novel that came out last year?
I think so because it's different. It's hard with characters like Tarkin and with Thrawn where like the books are so heavy and dense. I think it'll be easier just to read this comic book and visually see everything. And Thrawn is a cool character to look at, and his home world looks very interesting. And it's like I don't want to. Like, there's so much new canon stuff. Like, I don't want to really go back and read Legend stuff if it doesn't, if it's not canon. So I don't really want to go back and read that Thrawn trilogy. Yeah. So this is a really cool way to bring that trilogy to people like me who didn't get a chance to read it, and actually have it be parts of it be canon, which is cool for fans of those novels who always wanted Thrawn to be canon. Yeah. Now parts of those novels are gonna be canon, so that's pretty cool. I'm definitely gonna read all of these.
This is exciting. Thrawn is one of the more exciting characters in the universe. I remember before he even stepped foot on the screen in Rebels, people were calling for his name everywhere. Oh, yeah. Maybe it's a lead into him becoming a live action character at some point. Who knows?
That would be awesome.
I think he is well deserving of it. His kind of prowess that he has on screen is ridiculous. So I think this comic is just kind of a lead into what we could see in the future. Hopefully, anyway. All right, so wrap up the Padawan. As I mentioned, Jacob's going to go over the Phasma run. It was 4 issues?
4 issues, surprisingly. Yes, they've been doing 5-issue runs for a lot of characters.
And this took place after The Force Awakens.
Yes.
Picked up almost directly, I want to say.
Yeah, like literally during the end of The Force Awakens.
All right, well, let him have it, man. What did you think of the Phasma run?
No spoilers. I'm just going to give my general thoughts. So it literally picks up as Captain Phasma. We know she's in the trash compactor by the end of The Force Awakens. We know she gets out because she's in the trailers for The Last Jedi. So it's her getting out, and she basically, because we know she took down the shields. And after reading her novel, I kind of understand why she would do that. So she takes her down her shields, and she has to make sure there's nobody knows that she did this. Nobody can know that Captain Phasma took down the shields, and basically these 4-issue comic books run is that story of her going to erase all every piece of evidence that had her do it. And there's a
Okay.
few characters that know that she did this, and she's going to take care of that. And she ends up on this planet where she has to go through this mission to end up doing so. And it's really cool. It capitalizes on Phasma being a complete badass. It capitalizes on Phasma being like arguably the greatest warrior that doesn't have Force in the history of Star Wars.
Whoa.
No joke. And
Right.
I learned that from the novel,
Okay.
but this just adds to it. And it capitalizes on how menacing Captain Phasma is. I was telling Gio about Captain Phasma, and I was telling him, like, there's villains where, like, they're not straight up evil. Like, they're kind of in the middle, but they just happen to be on the bad side.
Yeah.
Captain Phasma is, I don't want to say she's 100% evil, but she's evil.
damn close.
She does not care. No one will get in her way.
That's awesome.
She will do anything to get what she wants and keep herself safe.
That's awesome.
There's nothing she will not do. And this comic run capitalizes on that, and I'm like, wow, she's brutal. I realized she's brutal from the novel, but then I read this, and I'm like, Captain Phasma. There's a reason why they pushed her so hard. And I think, even though it's not fair to people who only watch the movies, they're making up for her disappointments from The Force Awakens. And I think going on forward in the movies, she's going to be a interesting character to keep our eye on.
She looks like she has a big role in The Last Jedi. And,
I hope so.
And I hope that's kind of going forward in Episode 9, because she's a very different and unique character to what we've seen in Star Wars so far.
We've never seen somebody who's not a Force user who's so physically imposing. Who can, like, honestly,
With her motives.
She can take out 10 stormtroopers by herself, like without guns, you know, just by herself. Like, it's crazy. That's the way they portray her. So, if you think about the history from The Force Awakens, there's something else going on with Phasma. And also, she better whoop Finn's butt in that movie, or else none of it's going to make sense. Finn is a normal stormtrooper, like a regular, average stormtrooper.
Hey, he's a resistance fighter now, bro.
All right. But his origin is that there's no way he can take on Phasma.
No, I agree.
2 seconds, he's done.
Well, and I think they also, in the movies, they have to make up for the fact that Finn got her with the trash compactor with Han and Chewie inside The Last Jedi, or The Force Awakens. That fight will more than likely make up for that. I hope that she whoops his ass. Yeah. I really hope that she
I don't
whoops
really
his
want to
ass.
see Finn, like, the end of The Force Awakens. I don't want to see him, like,
No.
out of duty
I want to see
again.
him walk away from it.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, she's going to whoop his butt, and then someone's probably going to, like, save him, like, from getting killed, because I don't think she would hesitate to kill him. So someone's going to have to stop her from killing him, and then he's going to walk away from it by the end of the movie. We can't have Finn injured again to where he's unconscious.
Now, let me ask you this. Do you think that anything in this comic run will be hinted at, teased, asked about in The Last Jedi?
Oh, yeah, you just reminded me. So, the last issue, it's hard to talk about it without spoilers, but it, like, leads directly into The Last Jedi. I will say that.
Alrighty.
Especially regarding her and certain characters that she's close to in the First Order. So, I will say, if you're itching for The Last Jedi, you can't wait. Pick up this. It's only 4 issues. It's not going to be expensive. It's not going to take you a long time to read. It's a great little tie-in to The Last Jedi. So I definitely recommend it.
They don't take very long at all, which is
I can read one issue in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, it's nothing. Yeah. So.
All right, well, there's Jacob's thoughts on the Phasma comic run, and that'll wrap up the Padawan podcast today. Before we get out of here, not only thank you guys, but thank Jacob for joining me on the Padawan. Let them know where they can find you online, man.
You can find me on Twitter at @JacobBartley_, and anywhere on the web, just Jacob Bartley, Jacob Ryan Bartley. I will say, I know this will come out after Justice League comes out, but go watch Justice League. I don't think you'll be disappointed.
All right, well, we're going to check that out tonight.
Yeah, we're going to watch it tonight.
Yeah, I'm Jake Blaine. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Qui-Gon Jake. Check out apocalypsemovies.com as well as this YouTube channel. Make sure you give us a subscribe. We're looking for those subscriptions for everyone. Like, share, comment. We really, really appreciate it. Guys, thank you for joining us, and until next time, may the Force be with you.